Right. So in our previous class, we have seen how we can parse JSON response, like how we can validate a header, how we can validate status code. Along with that, we can also see how we can validate the data in the JSON response, or static data or dynamic data. Like in whichever order the data is presented in the JSON response, we can still traverse throughout the JSON response and we can get the data. Similarly, we can also parse XML response, and in XML also we can traverse through the data, and whatever validations we wanted to do, we can still do it. So today we will see how we can parse XML response, and for that we need one API request, and that request should return the XML response. Okay, and then we will able to do it. So I'll show you one API here, and this is a API request. And basically this will return all traveler related information, so which is having so many other APIs also. Let me show you. If I open this, you can try this for practice. There are so many other models also available. Just a second. Just a moment. Yeah, this is a URL. Okay, so this is a Swagger document of this dummy REST API, and which contains so many models like other account, customer, feed, metadata, tourist, travel agent, traveler, user. So many things are there, and you can just expand everyone, and you can see so many APIs: get, request, post, put, delete, and put. You can try this for practice purpose, and there are so many things are there. So here one API is there which will return response in the XML format. Okay, and all other rest of them are written, everything is JSON format, but only one request which is basically traveler. So this one will return the response in the XML format. So we'll see what is that API, and if we just look at the Swagger, so this is a traveler API, and here we have something called we can fetch all the traveler information. So you can see here API traveler, so which is a get request actually. So if I just click on it, and this is a get request. When you try it out, so which will give you the entire response body in the XML format. You can see here. So this is a request we have to send. When you send this request, we will get all the response in the JSON format. And suppose currently it is giving only page one and information, and other pages information, if it is available, it will show you. So currently this is the request which we have to send, and then it will give you response. And if you want to capture the specific page information, then we can see we have another API here. And if you want to get the traveler information on the specific page, currently it is written page one, right? So if you want to retrieve specific page, so then we have to run another API. Let me show you that. This is the first one. This is the one, I think. So here we have to pass some, this is a post request. When you pass some ID here, traveler ID, that will give you some response. So you can just explore this later. So I'm just going to use this for now. Okay, this is the request you have to send. So this is the one. Yeah. So if I just look at here, we send the request till here, which will give you all the travelers information. But if you have multiple pages of information, because all travels can't display in one single page. If you have more number of travels, we can apply filter here. Query parameter page equal to 1. So even if you send this exactly, this will give you all the traveler information on that particular page 1. Okay, you can send this request till here, or you can specify the page also. So this is the XML response we captured, and same thing you will get even if you run this through Postman tool. Okay. So now we will see how we can validate this XML response, a different type of validations we can do it. So let's go to Eclipse and create new package. So day 5. Okay, so here I'm creating a new class. Let's say parsing XML response. Okay, so first of all, let us try to import static packages. And I'm trying to import all 3 static packages. Okay, then, so I'm going to write a few test-ng tests. So the first test is what? We can say void test XML response. And I'll make it as a test annotation. And then import this test annotation. It is same process yesterday what we have done. It is the same process, but the methods will be different because it is an XML response. Okay. All right. So now we have created one test-ng test method, and here we will see. Again, we can parse the response in 2 different approaches. Yesterday we have seen for JSON 2 approaches, right? So similarly, by returning the response without returning the response, right? So if I don't return the response, we have to write then part, then method, and inside of the then method, we can directly write the validations. But if you return the response into a variable, then we can do a few more operations or a few more validations. So first of all, let's see, without returning the response, without storing the response in a variable, what are the validations we can do? So let's see approach 1. Approach 1. So without returning the response into variable. So I'll say given. And in the given, I don't have anything to put. So I can say directly, because this is a GET request, given dot when, and inside the when we will send the request. I'm sending the GET request. And inside the GET, I'm going to use this particular API URL. Okay, so now I'm sending this URL, and after that immediately we will try to use then. So here we can do some validations. The first validation is what? Status code, and that is, let's say 200 I'm expecting. And the next status code is header validation. So how we can header validation, how we can do it? We can simply say header. It is same for JSON also, header, and here header type is what? Content type, content hyphen type. And here this time the response header will be different because we are getting the XML response. So it should be application/XML. So if you have any doubt, you can just run the same request in the Postman tool so that you will know exactly what are the headers it is returning. Okay, so go to the Postman tool, and inside the Postman, we can run the same request. Okay, so open another tab and just I'm running the same request. Okay, so now I can just look at this. This is the XML response we got. And if I just go to headers, and here, this is the content type is this one. This is the content type. And get here and specify them. So this is a content type. So validate header, validated status code, header. And then suppose if you want to validate something in the body, and that value is static or which is a constant. So then how we can validate? For example, this is the body response I captured, and we need to understand the hierarchy. So it is more easier to understand than JSON. So understanding well, we can easily understand the XML response. When you compare with the JSON, understanding XML response is more easier. Okay, because everything in aligned in the hierarchy mode. So if I just look at this, and this is the root tag, traveler information response. This is the first tag. And inside this, there are child tags like page, per page, total record, total pages, and travelers. And these are the child tags. And in the travelers, we have again few more tags. So traveler information is started here. Traveler information is end here. This is the one record actually. This is one record of one traveler or details of one traveler. Traveler ID, name, email address created. So these are the details available for single traveler. And this is another traveler data. And this is another traveler data. So all this traveler information or different travelers are present inside the traveler tag. This is the parent tag of all the travelers. And again, if every traveler is having different IDs, names, email address, and so on. So these are all traveler information. So here the traveler information tag is closed here, and traveler tag is closed here. So if I just look at this, let me maximize the page. Okay, so here this is the root tag, and these are the child tags, and here it is started. And if I just compress here, everything is go. These are the travelers tag. And if I expand here, you can see different traveler information. See here, you can easily identify them in the browser. I'm just minimizing them, so you can just look at here. These are all travelers. These are all different travelers. Every traveler is having starting tag, ending tag. You see, traveler information is opening tag, traveler information is ending tag. And if you expand one traveler information tag, you can see the details of the specific traveler. ID, name, email address, and created. So this is the XML response. Okay, so now we will see how we can validate the static field. So for example, I got this response, and which page I'm requesting here? Page 1 I'm requesting. So we need to check whether we got the information from the page 1 itself or not. When I'm requesting page 1 information or page 1 details, I should get the details only from the page 1. So how we can validate? Now in the XML response, we can check the page number is 1 or not. So whichever page number you provided here, you will get the same page number. Let us say I'm passing 2 here. So you can see page number is 2 here. And when you say 3 here, and then you can say page number is 3 here. Okay. So whatever page number we are requesting, whatever the information we are requesting from the specific page, that data or content should come from the same page. Now I can validate the page number 1. Similarly, can validate total records, total pages. And also we can validate the specific travel data. Let's say here travel information is there. And here I can verify the name is correct or not, address is correct or not. We can verify if the data is static and properly aligned. Right, but if order is got changed, for example, this traveler information is present at the end of the file or some middle of somewhere, and in that way we will follow the different approach. But if you have a static data, same order every time, then if you want to validate some data in the XML file, still we will able to validate it. First we will see this part, and then we will see how we can validate the data if order is got changed. Okay, so go to Eclipse, and here verify the status code, verify the header, and then I want to verify the body. So for that, I want to verify the page actually. So are we getting the right page number or not? I want to verify. So for that, what you can do is whenever you want to verify something in the body, we have to use one method called body here, body. And here we have to pass 2 parameters. So the first parameter is what we want to verify from the XML. So I want to get this page. So how to get this page? So where exactly this tag is present? Traveler information response. So this is the root tag. Inside this page is available. So how we can write a XPath for this? How we can write XML path? XPath and XML path both are same. Okay, the name is different. Normally we call this XPath, right? That is also derived from the XML path. So we can call them as XPath or XML path. So now tell me, if you want to access this node, we call them as a node. Every line is called as a node, NODE, node. So if you want to access this node, how we can write an XPath now? First, we need to start from the root tag, traveler information response dot page. Okay, suppose I want to access this one. This node I want to access. Now tell me how to write a XML path for this XML path. If you want to identify this particular field, how to write an XML path? So we have to start from the root node. We have to start from the root node. So where is the root node here? So this is the root node. And from there, we have to go here. From there, we have to again go here and here. So now how we can write traveler information response dot inside this where we have to navigate travelers dot inside the travelers we have one more child tag traveler information. So traveler information inside this we have a id dot id. So this is the complete path we have to specify. All right, so then it will return this one. Okay, so now so this is the travelers. So this is the one node actually. This is the second node. Right. So I want to access this ID from the first node, travel information. So here I can say index one, I can say. Suppose I want to access ID from the second node. So then what I can say here, travel information of 2 here. I can pass index 2 here. So then I can get this ID. Okay. Similarly, you can pass some index number. If you have a multiple node, this is one node, this is another one. So this is 1, this is 2. So if you have multiple travel information tags, you can specify the index number. Accordingly, we can access the value. So this is the way we will able to access the data from the XML file by writing proper XML path or XPath. Okay. So now let us try to validate this page 1. So how we can validate this? You can simply go to here and we will write the right XPath. How to write an XPath here? Travel information response. There's a root tag dot. Here we don't use slash, actually we use dot. So dot, and what's the child tag here? Page. So that we have to say page. This is a node which is representing the node. But what is the value we want to verify is comma method we have to use equal to 1, and that we have to put in the double quotations. So this is the validation. So exactly in this particular node, this is a value is available or not. If this value is present, then this particular method will pass. Suppose I want to verify something else. Let's say here you can verify per page, total record, total pages, everything we will able to verify. Suppose I want to verify this name. So I want to verify this name. Now, how to write an XPath to get this exactly this particular name? Traveler information response / travelers, because these are all siblings actually. So these are all childs of one parent. So we no need to touch these nodes. Traveler information response dot travels dot traveler information dot name. This is how we can write an XPath, right? So yes. So you can also write a relative XPath. Okay, just like in the web automation, we work with XPath sites, all kinds of syntaxes, it will work. The only difference is there we will use slashes, but here we will use dots. That's the only difference. Okay, now let us try to write a XPath for this. Body, and here the first parameter. So this is a root node dot inside this travelers dot and traveler information dot the name. That name we can specify. So what we are expecting here, this is the name we are expecting. Copy this and then paste it over here. But what is the method? Equal to the name of the traveler. Right. So this is how we can keep all the validation points, and whichever data you want to verify, you can just specify. Now tell me, so this particular XPath will return the first traveler information or not? First one, because we have multiple travelers. So this is one traveler information. This is another traveler information. This is another traveler information. So which one it will return? The first one it will return, because if I don't specify any index, by default, it will go to the first one. Right? If I don't specify index, by default, it will go to the first one. right? So this is a name we are expecting. Let's try to execute. But again, if order is got changed, if the order is got changed, again, it won't work. Probably this name will be displayed in the second node or third node, right? In that case, we can't get. So let me just, and for that, we need to write another logic. Okay, let's try to execute this. Okay, so now we got one failure. Let's see why it is got failed. Now we can just look at the response. Yeah, so actually we are expecting something here. See here, Vijay Bharat Reddy. So this is what our expectation, but what is actually it is returning? So this is returning so much of things. So you can see here. And also if I see the response also, and not only this, it is also returning something else. So till here, this is the name actually, but this we know, Sharma, this is a name. So we know the Vijay Bharat Reddy is a name actually, and email. This is the email address. So email is also written, and USCA. So many things are written here. So basically, what it is done is it is basically returning all the names which are available in the XML file. So not only single name, actually, it is returning all the names. If I just look at this, it is returning this name, and also it is returning this one, and also it is returning this one, and also it is every name from every record, every name is got returned. All the names has got returned. But normally in the XPath, it will return the first one, but here it is returning all the names, right? So, but if I want to exactly return the first name, okay, then what you can do, we can pass the index. Right, so let's try to pass the index now. Okay, so where we have to pass the index here? So because the traveler information is a first node, after that this is a second node, right? So let's say here traveler information of 1 index we have to pass, and traveler information of 1, and here we can pass we can get the ID, so we can get the name. So this is the name we are expecting. Now try to execute. And we have to pass the index here, we can't avoid. But normally if I don't pass index, it will get the first record. And that's what that will work in the XPath, but here we have to pass the index, and index start from 1, not from 0. Okay, so again it got failed. Let us see why it is got failed this time. So you can see here Vijay Bharat Reddy. So this is the actual name, but it is returning Windows. I think it is taking from 0 only, guys. Yeah, index is not 1, actually it is taking from 0 index. Yeah, so Vinod Sharma is actually the name of the second traveler. You can just look this. So here second traveler, it is returning, so index will start from 0 only. But there is some difference here, XML path and XPath. So please notice those differences. So here it should take from 1. Sorry, it should take from 0. So I can say 0 here. Save it and then execute one more time. Okay, so now it is got passed. Right, so this is a way we can get the response data and we can validate with the expected value. So remember the index will start from 0. Okay, here it is start from 0 actually. But in XPath, index will start from 1, not here. Okay, and what is the other difference is normally when you write an XPath, we have to use slashes, but here we have to use dot. Okay, that is a major difference we have. So please notice that while using the XPath here. Right, so here we can just validate the static data like this. And if you get the response in a variable, then we can do some other validations also. Okay, so let me show you how we can return the response into variable and then how we can perform the other type of validations. And same validations, we can also still do it if we get a response. Okay, same validation, still we can do it in a response. So let me show you that. So let's comment this. This is approach 1. So approach 2 is by returning the response into a variable. Okay, let's go and return the response. Same thing I'm writing again, but I'm not using a then method. I can directly return the response in a variable. So here I'm ending the get request. So where we can specify the response variable. So here I'm going to create one variable, and variable type is what? Response. Response res. Now import this response class from io.restassured.response. Right. So now I got the response in this variable. So if this response is saved in this variable, then how we can perform these validations? Same validations we will see first, and after that I will show you what are other validations we can do on the response. So first of all, status code validation. How we can verify the status code if you got the response in a variable? So from this response, directly we can get the status code, get a status code, and we can directly use assertion, assert equals, and here response dot get status code, and that should be equal to 200, right? 200 is our status code. So this is the first validation. And the next validation, suppose I want to verify this data, and this also we can still do it. Or before that, let's see header validations. How we can verify the header validation if we get the response in a variable. Let's say res dot header, and what is the header type is content type. So here I'm validating only one header, guys, but actually you can validate all the headers, multiple headers, and whatever the values of headers are constantly coming. So same headers you can validate. Content type, and what is the content type is comma, second parameter is what? Content type I want to validate with the, this will actually return the content type. But we need to verify this value. We have to compare this value with our expected value. So for that also, I can write one assertion, assert dot asset equals, and this is a header, response dot header, comma, what is the header we are expecting? Here we have to pass as a second parameter. So this is the header we want to expect. This is the one, and close it. So this is another type of assertion, status code and header. Now how we can verify the body from the response? So suppose I want to verify the page number like this. Simply from the response, get the body, response dot body. So here, one more important thing. So we can't get the body actually. So in JSON path, we use something like this, but in the JSON response, we use something called JSON path. There is a method called JSON path, right? Similarly, here we have one method called XML path. Okay, XML path. So if you want to extract the page number, right? If you want to extract this page number, so how we can write it? Response dot XML path method we have to use. XML path. And in the XML path, we have to use one more method called get. XML path dot get. So if it is a JSON response, what is the method we used? XML JSON path dot get method we used. But here XML path dot get. And here we have to specify the XML path. So whichever path you have captured, that you can specify. So if you want to capture the page number, so this is the path I can specify in the double quotations. Okay, and then this will return the value which is there in this node, and that we need to convert into the string format. Otherwise, it will return the object format. So why we need to convert string format again? Yesterday we have seen. Why we need to convert in the string format? Because we cannot do comparisons on the object type. If it is a string type, I can compare with another string. But if it is an object type, we cannot do it. Suppose if we end the statement and this get method will return the object information, object type. So if it is an object type, if the value is an object type, we can't compare this. So we can convert that into string format. I say dot to string. So this particular method will convert it into string format. And now we need to compare this with our expected value. Okay. So for now, I'm just storing this value in a variable. I'll say string page number. I have taken one variable. So now I'm able to capture the page number into this variable. Then we can compare it. We can write one assertion. I say assert dot assert equals, and this is the page number we captured. This is the page number we captured from the XML, and that page number should be equal to 1. Should be equal to 1 because that's a string format. We have to keep in only in the double quotations. So this is how we can validate the body. So we can write res is nothing but a response dot XML path dot get, and specify the path. ToString is converting the data into object into string format. So now the page number is available in the string format. We can compare this with our expected value. So by using the XML path method also, we can get the data from the XML response. So all three things we can validate like this. Similarly, the next thing, this name is also, we can do the same thing. For example, same thing, we can just copy paste. Let's say here XML path dot get, and this is the X path. Keep it here dot ToString, which will convert this into string, and this is the traveler name. Traveler name, and it is also string format. And to compare the traveler name, just specify here, and the name of the traveler is what? So this is the name of the traveler. So you can specify here. He is a traveler name. Done. Okay, so this is how we can just get the response from the XML by using XML path. And dot get is a method, and whatever XPath we specified in this, it will return the node value from the XML, and we can compare with our expected value. So this is how we can also capture the response into variable. Then we can do various types of validations. But same validations we have done here also. Whatever validations we have done here, same validations we have done. But if you got the response in a variable, then we can do some additional validations also. And what kind of validations we can do? Even the order is got changed. So the values keeps change the order. In those cases also, we can do some validations. And that is the main intention of getting the response into variable. So if you capture the response in a variable, so we can do some additional operations. So we will see that now. Before that, let me try to execute this code. Right click, run as, test. Okay, so now it has got passed. So this is how we can do the validations on the JSON response by using XML path method. Okay, this is the approach most of the times we follow, because we have some additional things also we can validate if we have a response in this variable. Right, so now we will see some more validations on the XML response. Okay, let me just comment this, and I'll create one more test method to perform some additional validations. Okay, right, so let me just copy the same thing. @ test annotation, test XML response body. I'm giving a different name here. And let me just remove this one. Yeah. So approach 2. So here we are getting the response in the response variable. Okay. Test XML response body. So this is the method I created. And now I'm using the second approach. So this time we will do a few more types of validations. So these validations we already done in the previous test. So now what I'm going to do is I want to do some more additional validations. So let me just remove this. So I got the response in this variable. Now my entire response is present in this variable. Now to perform some additional validations, we use a special class here called XML path class. In the yesterday's class, in the JSON response, to validate JSON response, we have used one class. Do you guys remember that name? To verify the JSON response, we have used a special class. Yes, JSON object class we have used. Similarly, here we will use XML path class. Okay, XML path class. So first we have to create an object of XML path class. So how to create XML path. So this is the class name actually. XML path is a class name. For that, we will create one object. For that, we will create some object. Okay, so how to create an object? So we can create an object like this, XML obj equal to XML path. Okay, so we have to first create an object. XML path, XML obj equal to XML path. Right, so here we have to pass one parameter. So first of all, we have to import this XML path class from io.restassured.path.xml. Okay, this is the class we have to import. And we no need to add any additional dependencies for XML. So same thing. XML path, XML obj equal to XML path. So for XML path, I have created an object here, remember. And this need one parameter. So whatever response we captured here, this response is available in the response format. Response is also one of the type, but we have to pass this in the string format. Yeah, we have to write a new also. Sorry, I forgot this. New. Okay. So we have to pass this response variable here after converting this into string format. Okay, because currently the response is in the response format. Response is also one of the type, one of the format. So we cannot directly pass this response here. So what we have to do is we have to convert that into string, then we should be able to pass. Same thing we have done for JSON also. Have you remembered that? So JSON also we have converted that into string, then we have passed into JSON class object. Similarly, here also we have to convert this into string. How to convert this into the string? res dot as a string is a method, as a string. So this method will convert the entire response into string format, and then I can pass as a parameter. So this is the way we have to create a XML path object. Once you created, then we will able to do different type of operations. So for example, in my response, my first operation is what? I want to find total number of travelers. So for example, he is one traveler, and he is one more traveler, and he is another traveler, he is another traveler. There are so many number of travelers information is there, but I want to find total number of travelers information. And I can compare that value with my expected value. So let's say I'm expecting 10 travelers should be there in my response. That's my expectation. How we can check it? Or I'm expecting 20 travelers should be there in my XML response. That we want to validate. Okay. So let's see how we can find total number of travelers in the XML response. Most important. So to do this, what we have to do is we have to take the help of this object. Okay. And one more thing is, this is one traveler information. This is another traveler information, right? So this is another traveler information. The multiple travelers are having different details. And what is the parent tag of all these travelers? What is the parent tag? Travelers. This is the parent tag. So in this, all travelers are present. So now what we need to do is we have to use one method called list, get list. So we have to first go to this particular node, and from this node we have to extract all the travelers. And this is one traveler, this is one traveler. So we will capture all the travelers in the form of list, Okay, so here we use something called, this is as a string, guys. It is not a to string. Okay, this is as a string. So to string we use here. So suppose if you're getting the data from the response, if you convert the data into the string format, then we have to use the to string method. But if you want to convert the entire response as a string, then we have to use as a string method. So please remember this, two methods are there, to string, as a string. And when we have to use the to string, if you want to convert the data into string format, then we have to use a to string method. If you want to convert this entire response into string format, then we have to use as a string method. Okay, so there is a lot of difference. Fine. So now let us capture the list of traveler information. So let us find the number later. Before finding total number of travelers, first of all, we will see how to capture the all the information about the travelers. That's the most important. And once you get the number of travel, once you get all the travelers information, then we can easily find out how many travelers are there. So next step is what? Use this XML object, XML obj dot, here we use something called get list method, get list. Okay, from where we have to extract this list? From the travelers. So if I just look at the response again, first where we have to go, how to write an XML path, we have to go to the root node. And inside this, we need to go to the travel node. Inside the travelers node, traveler information. And here, travel information, there are multiple nodes are there. We have to capture all the information. So what we need to do is, we need to write one method here. XML object dot get list. Here we have to write a XML path. So what's the parent node? Traveler information response. That's a parent node. Dot travelers dot, inside the travelers, we have to go to traveler information. So this is the one, traveler information, that we need to specify, traveler information. Okay, so traveler information response dot travelers dot traveler information. So here traveler information node is present inside the travelers. And do we have only one node or multiple nodes? Traveler information nodes. Traveler information, this is one node, this is a second node, this is a third node, this is a fourth node. There are multiple nodes are there, right? So now I want to capture all the nodes because we want to find total number of, right? So we want to capture all the nodes. So that's the reason we have to use get list method here. Get list method will get multiple nodes, whichever this XPath. Normally this XPath is matching with what? All the nodes, right? Here we have seen that. If I don't pass this index, it is matching with all the nodes, right? So that's the reason we have specified the index here. So here also, this XPath is matching with all the nodes. But here we need all the nodes also, not a specific node. We need all the nodes because we want to find out how many total number of nodes, how many total number of travelers. So that's the reason we should not specify any index here. We need all the nodes here. But here we need only one node. That's the reason we pass an index. But here we need all the nodes, so that we say get a list. What is get list method will do here? This will get all the nodes and we have to store them in a variable. I'll name it as a traveler names. Okay, so not names, travelers, because we are getting all the travelers information. Every traveler is having name, email ID, so many things. So currently I'm getting all the travelers information into this variable. Now what type of variable it should be now? What type of variable it should be now? So we are getting all the travelers, right, in the form of list. So this variable should be list. This variable should be list. That's the first thing. Second thing is, all the traveler information is available in the form of string. So we should also specify the data type, which is string. So list of string, every traveler information is a list. See, this XPath is matching with multiple nodes. What are those nodes? This is a one node, this is a second node, third node, fourth node, and so on. So there are multiple nodes are there, traveler information nodes. So it is capturing travel information nodes as a list into this variable, but every travel information is a string. So I can say string here. So with this statement, what we have done, we have captured all the traveler information nodes into one variable. All the traveler information we have stored in one variable. So can we get count of this? How to find total number of travelers now? We already got the travelers information here. All the travelers are information is available here. Now I want to find out the total number of travelers. How we can find? Yes, if it is a list collection, we can simply use size method. So I can say travelers dot size. So this will give you total number of travelers. And now I'll put this information in the assertion so that we can compare with our expected value. Let's say asset dot asset equals, and here travelers dot size, that should be equal to what? Traveler's size should be equal to, let's say 10. Okay, I'm expecting 10. Okay, so size will return the integer, right? Size will return the integer value. So the comparison value should be also an integer. So this is the validation. So what we have done, we have captured, we have find out the, or we can verify total number of travelers from the response. Okay, so total number of travelers information we captured in this variable, and then we find out total number of travelers. Okay, now let us execute this and see. Okay, so it is got passed, means it is having 10 travelers in the XML response. Okay, fine. So now I want to do one more validation. Suppose in my response, there are so many travelers are there, and every traveler is having some name. Every traveler is having some name. Okay, suppose this traveler information is not exactly displaying the same order every time. Suppose in the first traveler name is what? Vijay Bharat. And sometimes when you send the request, let us assume this traveler information is displayed at the end of the XML file, somewhere in the middle of the XML file. So it keeps changing. In those cases, I want to verify the specific value is present in the XML file or not. Suppose I just want to verify this particular name is present in the XML file or not, XML response or not. It can be present anywhere. It can be a first node, or it can be a second node, it can be a third node, whatever it is. But finally, I want to check this particular name is present in my XML response or not. That I want to verify. Okay, so in this case, order is not important. So the data can be displayed in whichever order it wants. So whenever you send a request, you will get the different order. It doesn't matter. But I want to check this name is present in my XML response or not. That's what I want to verify. Okay, so now we'll see how we can check the data presence or not. The next validation. So verify traveler name is not only name, you can verify email ID, whatever you want. So verify traveler name is present in response. Verified traveler name is present in the response. Okay, so before doing that, we have to first capture all the traveler names. So again, here we will use searching algorithm, searching technique we have to use. So from the XML response, we have to capture all the traveler names. That's the first thing. And once you capture all the traveler names, we have to read each and every traveler name and compare with our expected traveler name. And whenever it is matching, we have to exit from the for loop. Okay, so before that, we have to capture all the traveler names. How to capture the traveler names? Again, same statement. Only thing is we have to change the XPath. So XML object.getList, and where exactly we will get the names? Where is the name? Here it is. So if you want to capture the name, how to write an XML path? Traveler information response dot travelers dot traveler information dot name. That is a hierarchy, right? Then we will get the names. So let me write it. So same XPath. Additionally, what we need to add, traveler information dot name we have to add. Dot name. So now this XPath is matching with all the names in the XML path. All the names, not only this one, because we have not put any index here. If you put index 1 here, then that XPath will match only with this name, only first name. But if I don't specify the index here, this XPath will match with all the names which are available in the XML file. Okay, XML response. So we are not putting any index, so which will return all the names from the XML. I'll store them in a variable, traveler names. I'm giving one more name, traveler names. Okay, so with this, we have captured all the traveler names into this variable. And once you get all the traveler names, now we have to write a loop statement in which we will read each and every traveler name, compare with your expected traveler name. So now we need to write a searching technique. So how to write a searching technique? We can use a normal for loop or enhanced for loop. Now I'm using enhanced for loop or for each loop. You can say traveler names. I'm using this traveler names. From this, I want to extract one by one, each and every traveler name one by one, that I can store in a variable. I say traveler name. I'm taking one variable. Now, what is the type of this variable now? Traveler name. Because in the traveler names, we have a different names, multiple names. In this loop, what I'm doing, I'm reading each and every name into this variable. And this should be again string type. String type. It's a traveler name. So now we need to compare this. Or if you want to print this traveler name, how we can print only traveler name? Suppose if you want to print all the traveler names, simply you can say print a statement and say traveler name. That's it. Okay. So first of all, let us see whether it is printing all the traveler names or not. So then we will try to validate the name. Run as test. Okay, now we can see these are all traveler names we have successfully printed. So now we need to check this particular traveler name is present in the list or not. We want to verify. So this is a traveler name I want to check. So now what I can do is we will write one if condition. Instead of printing this, what we will do is we will write one if condition. If the traveler name dot equals, this is our expected name. So then what we should do? We have to maintain one status variable, Boolean status, and let's make it false by default. And here we have to make that status true because we found the element. So status equal to true, and then immediately we have to come out from the loop. So if we don't come out from the loop, again, it will keeps getting the names and again compare with this value. Even though the value is already compared and satisfied, still it will repeat the loop. So we have to, as soon as you found this value matched, then immediately make the status value true and come out from the for loop. So after coming out from the for loop, here we will use assertion. Assert equals and status. And what is the status we are expecting here? It should be true. True means that name should be present. So if the assertion is false means what? Status is false means what? That name is not present in the response. So this is a assertion. This is a validation point. So like this, not only the name, we can verify whatever value is present in the whole XML file. The only important thing is we have to capture the right values by writing right XPath. That's the most important. Okay. Right. So let's execute now once again. Run as test. Okay, so now everything is got passed. So like this, we can verify the XML response. We can parse XML response. So parsing is nothing but what? Traversing throughout the XML response. Whichever value we want to get from this XML, we can navigate till that particular node and we can capture the value. So that is basically called as a traversing. That is also called as a parsing. Parsing of data means what? We can extract the data, whatever data we want from the response, we can extract it and we can compare with our expected values. That is a concept of parsing. So what we have seen so far is how to parse the JSON response, how to parse XML response. The methods are different. The approach is same. So I sent two different approaches: without sending the response or without returning the response by returning the response. If you return the response, these are the things we can do. We can do whatever validations we want to do in the response, we can still do it if you return the response in a variable. But if I don't return the response in a variable, we can do very little, very minimal type of calculations or minimal type of validations we can do. But we cannot write any logical things, or we cannot implement any logic by writing if conditions, for loop. They are not possible. So that is a major reason for that. Okay, so this is how we can parse JSON response and XML response. Okay, so just practice this. So when we can do it, if your request is returning XML response, then only we have to use this class XML path. And if your response is in a JSON format, then you have to use JSON object, JSON object class you have to create. And here we have to create XML path. Okay. So this is the concept of parsing. Now, let us move on to the next concept, a small concept we will discuss and then finish. All right. So now we will see one more concept called how to automate file upload and download. So the scenario we have already seen in the Postman also, right? How to upload single file, how to upload multiple files. So we have seen this scenario in Postman. So the same thing again we will repeat. So first let's go to the Postman. And once again, let me show you that collection, what we have created earlier. So file upload collection. So this is a single file and multiple files upload we have seen. Single upload means we have to pass the URL. In the body section, we have browse the file. And here we use some key parameter called file. And this is successfully upload a single file. Similarly, if you want to upload multiple files, so here we used one parameter called files. And this is the URL we used. And here we browsed multiple files and it is successfully uploaded. The same thing we will do in the RestAssured also. In the RestAssured automation also, we can test file upload, single file upload and multiple files upload. Okay, so let's see how we can achieve this. So for that, we have to run our own local API. Let me start running my local API. So go to C drive. I think this jar file I already shared earlier. You guys have these jar files already. So single jar file, you can use it. So go to automation practice and here. Yeah, so this is the one, I guess. File upload REST API .jar file. So let me open the command prompt and then run the file. JSON-server file upload REST API.jar. So when you run this, what will happen? This will execute and create an API, local API, so that we can check upload, file upload and file download. So let me enter now. Okay, it is saying something. Sorry guys, so this is not command. It is a jar file, right? We have to execute through java.jar command. Java-jar and then file upload. If it is a JSON file, then you have to use JSON server command. Any confusion here? If you have a JSON file, .json file data, then you have to use JSON server command. But if you have a jar file, then we have to execute this java-jar file upload REST API.jar. So now I'm running this. Okay, so now it is started my API. Okay, so now it is got started. So now if you want to upload the file, so we can open the localhost, 3000 is my port number. So go here, say localhost, 3000 is my port number. I think that's not, sorry, 8080. Okay, so this is my web application. So here, these things we can do on the web UI and through API also we can do. If you want to do web UI, you can simply say choose file and browse a file and then say submit. It will automatically upload single file. Same thing we can do here also for uploading multiple files. Click on the choose files, select multiple files and say submit. Automatically files will be saved. And where these files will be saved in your C drive, in the C drive. Once you uploaded, where we can see the files in the C drive uploads. So here we can see those files once you are uploaded. Okay. So now let us see how we can achieve this through automation. Okay. So let's go to RestAssured and I will create another example. New class, file upload. So here we can also check file download. So I can say file upload and download. Because once you uploaded the file, so the file is available in the particular location. So we can also verify that location file is exist or not. So file upload and download. So click on finish. Now let's create one method first. The first method is what? I can just say single file upload. Okay, so void single file upload. So this is a test annotation. Import this. Okay, now how to upload the single file. So first of all, let us write all the requests and everything. So let's start with given. Okay, and then when and then. Okay, so given, when, then. So here in the given, we are basically uploading the file, right? That file should go along with the request. The file should go along with the request. So that file location we have to specify in the given part. So that's a prerequisite. Okay, so here we will create one file type of variable, file my file equal to, and new file. For the file, we have to create an object. File is a predefined class in Java. So that is representing a file. So file Java driver we have to import. So file my file equal to new file. And here we have to specify which file we want to upload. The location we have to specify. So go to my C drive, automation practice. So I will try to upload test1 and test2. These are the two files I'm going to upload. Copy this location and then specify here. / test1.txt. Currently, I'm trying to upload single file. So test1.txt is my file. So here my file is a variable which is representing the test1. So before that, let me just try to add static imports. Okay. So now this is the file actually. So my file is a variable which is pointing to the file. This is a prerequisite. Now come to the when. So here we have to send a request. So here we have to send post request. Okay, because we are sending the file along with the request. So post request we have to send. So dot post. And what is the request URL? So in the postman, we already seen that single file upload. So this is a request URL. So that I'm going to pass. This is a request URL. And this is a post request URL. Okay, so once you have done this, then come to the then section. Here we do validations. So what are the validations we do here is first one, status code. Status code, I'm expecting 200 is my status code. And then what we have to verify here, we can verify something. So if I just send the same response in the postman tool, right? When you send this, you can see some response here. Internal server error, something is wrong. 1 second. Is it running my API? Okay, 1 second. Let me run my API once again. Is it working? Just a moment. Yeah, it is working fine. Go back and C drive uploads. Yeah, file is present. So it is working fine. Okay, let's do one thing. So go to the postman once again. So let's try to browse a file. Close it, select a file. And you can upload any file. Let me select test1. And this is a post URL. Let's send it. Yeah, so now it is uploaded. And once you get a response, you can see here, what are all things we can verify, the file name correct or not, we can verify. So whichever file we have uploaded, same file is there or not, we can verify. File type also we can verify. Size also we can verify. Okay, if you know this path or if the path is constant, we can also verify this path. So let's do some validation. So status code along with that file name also I want to verify. For that, we have to specify the JSON path. So status code, and then I'll try to verify something called body. So I say dot body, and here, what is the field name? File name, right? So that is a file name. And what is the value we are expecting? Test1.txt we are expecting. Equal to test1. So this is our expectation. And if you want to log the response in our console window, you can say dot log all. So we need to close this bracket here. Log dot all. So this will log all the information, all the response in the console window. Okay, so this is how we need to do it. And one more thing we have to do here. We are sending the post request, right? And this file should go along with the post request. We have just specified the file name, but we are not sending the file along with the post request so far. But in the Postman, what we are doing in the body section, we have taken something called form data. Form data we have taken, and here we say key is a file, value is a test1.txt. Then how we can specify this in the rest assured? So in the rest assured, how we can specify the form data? To specify the form data, we have one method is available here that we have to specify. And sorry, so this file should be before given session we have to write, okay, because that's a Java statement. So inside the given session, we have to specify, or we have to specify this file. We have to pass this file along with the post request. So how we can specify form data here is we have to use one method called multi-part. Multi-part. So this is representing the form data. Multi-part. Okay. So in this, we can specify the file name, whichever we want to upload, that we can specify here. Multi-part, key and value, right? So two parameters. Key is what? File. Value is what? Our browsing file. So the same thing we have to say. Multi-part is taking two parameters. The first parameter is what? File. That's the key. And second parameter is a file. Which file we want to upload? This is a file that you can specify. So now this will go along with the post request. So this is how we need to specify multi-part. And along with this multi-part, we should also specify content type, which is also most important. Dot content type. So this is not a JSON. This is not a JSON or XML content. But what type of content we are sending? Multi-part form data content we are sending. So whenever you are uploading the file, the content type will be multi-part / form data. Okay, remember that. So what is the content type we are sending? Not JSON, not an XML. This is the content type. Multi-part / form data. Remember this. These two are very, very important whenever you're trying to upload the file. Okay, so multi-part and content type. So these two things we can put in the given section. Now here we are sending the post request, verifying the status code, body, log.all. So this is optional, guys. Log.all we don't use every time. Just I want to show you the response. So that's the reason I'm using it. So we never use this one, because we will do validations on the response. Once we have done the validations, why we will print the entire response? Sometimes your response will be very, very huge. Even though if you are printing the response in the console window, there is no use. Okay, so that is the reason. So log.all is always optional. If you want to print the response in the console window, you can do it. Otherwise, not required. Okay, but if you want to use this log.all, you can just specify inside the then section. Okay, so you can put this inside the then method. So then you can do the logs. Fine. So this is a code. You can just specify the file name here, and multi-part content type we have to specify. And these are two are the most important thing and mandatory we have to say in the given part, because these are the prerequisites. And this is my post request, and then validations. Here I'm validating only file name. And if you want to validate other things like file type size, you can still validate. Just like same command, you can just copy paste and specify the field name and value. You can compare that. Right. So let's execute this. Single file upload. So where the file we can see here, we can see the file in the C drive, uploads, and currently I'm deleting the file. So here we can see the file. So let's try to execute, run as test-ng test. Okay, so now it is done, successfully done. So we can see the response also. This is a response I have logged, test1.txt, and file size, file type, everything is got here. Fine, so this is how we can automate single file upload. And two important things are what? Multi-part and form data. So in interview, people may ask if you want to upload the file, okay, and what kind of data you will specify, or what kind of how we can specify the form data. So multi-part we have to use multi-part, and also along with that we have to say content type. Then we will able to upload single file. So if I just go back here, you can see the one file is got uploaded. Now same thing we can repeat for multiple files. So to upload multiple files, how we can do this? Copy this and take another entry. I say multiple files upload. I'll comment the first one, multiple files upload. So if you want to upload multiple files, then what you have to do? This is my file one. So I'll take another file also, another entry. I say my file one, my file two. So test1.txt, test2.txt. So two files I'm going to upload. So I want to say two files, my file one, my file two. So now these two files I want to upload. These two files I have to send along with this request. And what is the request URL? Is it correct or not? Request URL to send multiple files. So this is the request URL. So we have to change this also. This is the request URL. So now we have to send two files. So two files we have to send. So here we specify two files. Similarly, here also we have to specify two multi-parts, two multi-part. And here my file one, this is my file two. And what is the parameter here is not a file. It should be files. Files. That will change. Because in the Postman also we use a different keyword here, files. But here we have a two files, but in Postman we have an option to select multiple files at the time. But in the RestAssured, we don't have such option, browsing all these things, because that is not a UI. So we have to specify multiple entries. So here also we have to say multiple entries. Here also we have to write two multi-parts. But content type is one. Okay, one type is fine. So this is how we can specify multiple files, and request have changed. Now these two files will go along with the post request. And what is the validation now? So in the validation, how many files we can see? Let me try to upload multiple files and see. Browse selects, and this time I'm trying to upload two files, test1 and test2. Send request. Now we can see there are two entries in the JSON response. Now we can validate. So what are our validation I can do here now? I can verify this one and also this one. Two things I can verify. And how we can get the JSON path of this one and this one? JSON path. Basically, it is an array, JSON array. You can see here, this bracket is representing array. So array contains a first element and second element. This is the first element and this is the second element. Index is starting from 0. So this is a 0 element and this is 1 element. So in the 0 element, we have to find the file name. In the first element also, we have to find the file name. So how we can write a JSON path for this? JSON path we have to write to validate. So here status code, and here body dot not a file name. We need to go to the first array, right? So 0, because we don't have name of array here. If I just look at, we don't have a name provided for array. So index directly it will go to first element of an array. In the first element, what we have here, file name. So 0 dot file name. So this should be equal to test1.txt. Similarly, second file name, body 1 dot file name equal to test2.txt. So now two files I'm validating, and then we can say log.all. Fine. So this is how we need to do validation of multiple files. So let's try to execute one more time. Right click, run as test-ng test. So before that, I'll try to remove the two files in uploads and then execute. Okay, so now two files have got uploaded. Now we got the proper response also. Test1.txt, test2.txt, and passed. Go back and see the uploads. You can see the two files. Okay, so this is how we can upload multiple single file or multiple files. Even if you have 10 files, we have to specify them. You have to specify all the file paths. Okay,
So you have to specify all the paths, but some APIs, you don't need to specify all the files actually, some APIs, but this APIs are not supporting that one. But sometimes you can store all the files into array. So I will show you that, but that won't work here, but some other type of APIs, it will work. Instead of writing multiple paths, you can reduce that into single statement. Okay, let me also show you that. So for example, if you have 10 files, or if you have 50 files, 100 files, then it is very difficult to upload, right? So in that case, what you will do is, you can do like this. Instead of 2 files we specified, right? So you can create one array variable, and I say file. Okay, we can create one array, file array, file ARR. Okay, and here you can specify, right? Say my file 1 comma my file 2 comma. So like this, whatever files we created, but this you have to create. There is no option here. You have to specify whatever files you want to upload. You have to write all the files. But these file 1 and file 2, you can add into one single array. And what's the array type here? What's the type of an array? I'm storing file objects. Inside the array, I'm storing file object. This is one file. This is one file. Now, what's the type of an array? Type. If I store strings here, the array type is string. If I store integers here, the array type is int. If I store file objects, then what's the type of this array? File object. File, not an object. Okay. So now this array contains 2 files. This array contains 2 files. Now this particular array, I can directly pass it here. Here I can directly pass one single array which contains multiple files. Now you can remove this one. So this is another way we can do it, but it may not be work for every kind of API. So, but you can have this code. If it is working fine, then you can use it, or else you have to pass these 2 files separately in multiple parts. You have to write multiple multi-part methods. And here we have to send one file, here we have to send second file, and so on. Okay, so but here this we cannot reduce. All the files we have to specify, because this is a code, right? Automation code. But if it is a UI, we can directly browse all the files here at a time. But in automation, it's not possible like this. We have to specify all the file names like this and add them into one array, file type of an array, and this array we can pass it here. But this won't work every time. Please remember, okay? Won't work for all kinds of API. That depends on how developer is designed that API. Okay, so that's a problem. So if the developer is not properly written the code, so then it won't work actually. So currently, whatever API we have done, so in this approaches won't work actually. It's not working fine. So then we have to upload the files independently. So first we upload this file and then this one, and then everything will go fine. Okay, so please try. But this approach may not work for every kind of API. Please remember. And then we have to go with this approach. Okay, so this is how we can upload the file. But if you want to test file download also, we can test. Suppose, so let's say void file download. So if you want to test file download, whether file is successfully downloaded or not. So simply what you can do is, as soon as you download it, that file is present in this location actually. If I just go to C drive, uploads. So here the file is present. As soon as you upload it, the file is present here. Now we can check the file is successfully uploaded or not. So how we can check it? So we have to send one more request. Okay, so here, 1 second. So let me try to upload one file. So currently 2 files are there. I'm removing these files, and through the Postman, I will show you first. Okay, so let me try to upload one single file here. And uploading, and I got the response. In the response, you can see something called this URL, right? This is the URL. So if you open this URL, if you send this URL as part of GET request, see here, I'm sending the same URL in the GET request. And if I just click on send button, it will give you whatever the text which we have in this file, same thing is printed here. Open the test1.txt, so which contains some text here. So the same text is got printed as part of your response, right? So if this request is successfully done, that means what? Your file is successfully downloaded, right or not? So when you run this request as a GET request, if you get the 200 is code, that means what? Your file is successfully updated or successfully uploaded. So that also we can validate immediately. So file download given and when and then. So in the given, we don't need anything. So we can directly in the then we send the GET request, get of, send this URL. And in the then section, we can verify the status code. So status code is 200. And if you want to log all other information, you can say dot log dot. And if you log only body, not enter response, so you can simply say log dot body. That's it. So this will verify the file is downloaded or not. Only one file, not a multiple files. So if you upload multiple files, you will get the multiple URLs. So whichever URL you are getting here, if I say 2 here, then it will give you success code. You have to write 2 tests there. File 1, you have to write 1 test. File 2, you have to write another test. Both are file download. Okay, so like this, you can just test this. So currently, I'll just comment this one, multi-lines. And let's try to execute the first one. I'll also give priority for this. I say priority equal to 1. And after that, I want X because after uploading the files, then we can test the download. So here I'll say priority 2. Priority 2. Okay, so let me just delete the file which I have uploaded earlier. Okay, now I don't have anything. So now in the first test, I'm uploading the file and also doing some validation. And in the last set, I'm checking the file is downloaded or not. Same file is downloaded or not. With the status code, I'm verifying it. Okay, now execute. Okay, so now you can see here, both have successfully executed. See here, the content, the response also displayed here. When you send the second request, the content of the file is displayed, right? So it is displayed. So this is how we can verify that, whether the file is also successfully downloaded or not. So this is how file upload, single file, multiple files, and also file download. So here the file is uploaded. C:uploads. Okay, so guys, is this clear? The how we can upload and download files through API, RestAssured API. Very simple concept. The main important thing is multi-part and content type. So if you're uploading the files, you have to use multi-part. And content type is what? Multi-part / form data. It is not a normal body. It is a form data which we have to pass. Okay, so download, where we have to check, you have to pass this URL actually. So this URL you should pass, and if it is successful, you see this is a URL. So file name also should be part of this URL. If you send this URL, this will give you the status code response 200. That means it is successful. So in the Postman also we have done the same thing. If I just go to Postman, first we have sent the file upload request. When you uploaded the file, this is the response you got. In the response also, it will show you where exactly it is downloaded. File download URL. Right? So if I open the file, that will give you the file. Even if you open the file in the browser also, that will give you the content. See here. So the file is downloaded here. See, whatever file is uploaded, which is downloaded. As soon as you open this URL, file is downloaded. That means the file is already uploaded. But if you send the same response in the Postman here, this will give you a response. So the whatever the content is there in the file, it will show you the response. So what we will do is, this is the same URL, whatever is we are getting from the response, same URL we are using here to check file is uploaded or not. So that is a connection. Okay, so this is file upload and single file, multiple files, and checking how file is uploaded or file downloaded, file is uploaded or not, we can verify. So this is file download actually. So when you open this URL, if you get the response or content of the file, means that is successfully downloaded. So in the API also, we are doing the same thing. When you send this request, or if you open the same request in the browser, what is happening? It is trying to download the file. So the request is successful. So both are included here. Whether file is uploaded or not, we can verify. File download also, we can verify. So this is, if the file is already available, then only it will able to download, right? So there's a context here. Okay, so I'll stop here for today's session. And in the next session, we will discuss a few more important things. And we will continue in the next class.